Hello, hello, hello. We're live. Nice. All right. Yeah, I guess I started that pretty much right when I said I would. This is somewhat impromptu, but my name is Chris. You're watching the channel Pros and Cons. Every once in a while, I like to draw. So bear with me. I'm adding a second camera so that I can show you guys what I'm drawing. But if you've seen the thumbnail, you kind of already know. I'll explain why I'm drawing it, though. Give me just a second, and then I'll say hello. There's already people in the live chat. That's really cool. Let's see here. Let me adjust to the... I think that I can make that sharper. Bear with me a moment. I think I can adjust this camera a little bit more. Right around... Yeah. I know that's still pretty fuzzy, but it's a pretty light pencil sketch. Some of the lines are thicker. They're not all appearing on camera, but that's okay. That's okay. I got some tiny little Micron technical pens and a new brush pen. And yeah, this is Gamera. Everybody knows Godzilla. Well, you may not know Gamera. Maybe you've at least heard of him. Gamera is also a kaiju, just a giant monster. A little more kid-friendly than Godzilla. Gamera protects children, basically. And anyway, I do a show on this channel called Trash Movie Bonanza with Jim Mafood. We decided we're going to draw the thumbnail this week, or this episode, and I did... I decided we'd do a Gamera movie. So let me say hello to some of the folks that are here. Well, worry no more. You've got some entertainment. It's going to be the best. Good. Hello. Yeah, very nice to see some folks here. Oh, yeah, that did not go well. Ronda Rousey has a crowd-funded comic book drawn by Mike Deodato Jr., I think, who's, a really big name, but, good for him for getting paid. She did an AMA to promote it, and I'll talk about it on the news. It did not go well for her. I actually own all Showa and Heisei Gamera films on DVD. Oh, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing a lot better. Thanks for asking. Oh, yeah, no, it's brutal. She didn't get to promote the comic at all, basically, and left very quickly, all things considered. Anyway, let me get started on this. So Gamera's... One thing about Gamera, and I'm sorry if the audio is going to be bad. Sometimes I'm going to be really... And I'm not even in camera all the time, I know. It's weird, I mean, I'm really hunching over, and it's hard to get a camera and a microphone at a great angle. I'll try to hang back a little and see what I can do there. But Gamera, the biggest difference with Gamera and Godzilla is that Gamera was definitely a lot cheaper. Now, not so cheap that it's like outright bad or unwatchable, but it is noticeably cheaper. The costumes are a lot less expressive, a little more simplistic. They did something like the first 7 movies, I believe they all did in the consecutive years. So it started about 10 years after Godzilla. It was like around 1965 Gamera started. And yeah, they did like 7 movies in 7 years at first. So they kind of... It was rushed. It was a business thing. But it ended up being fairly fun for what it is, I've never seen that. Yeah, MST3K must have reviewed 1 or 2 of them, right? But I've never seen the those MST3K. I should. Is MST3K on anything? I haven't watched that since like the 90s, to be honest. I'm really behind. Yes, yeah, you can watch all the Gamera movies for free on Tubi if you're curious. They're fun. If all the children sing, the camera will remain in focus. Is it, again, not really in focus? Let me double check what I've got here. Yeah, I think it's in focus. It's just that I just really haven't laid down much in terms of lines yet. So give me a moment. Let's see. MST3K is on Netflix, and MST3K and Riff Tracks are on YouTube. Remind me what Riff Tracks is. Is it like some of the same people? I've never seen Riff Tracks. I will admit. But for this, I need to do a good job on this artwork because let me lean in for a moment. Jim is going to be drawing a little bit too, and obviously Jim Mavood is a professional, incredible artist. I don't want to like let him down by doing my part of it badly, so I gotta give it my best here. Gamera is essentially a big turtle in a lot of ways. I mean, he's a little different. He does stand upright. He's got some weird things like jets that can come out of his legs, and he's got these big tusks. But for all intents and purposes, he is a turtle. Japanese word for turtle is kame. So like kama, and then they were just Godzilla in Japanese, Gojira. They just put a ra at the end. It didn't really mean anything, but it was like a naming convention for a little while there in the 50s and 60s. So you just took like the word for turtle, kame, and added ra at the end, and that's how you got Gamera. Not a super interesting story, I know, but just explaining where that sort of came from. It doesn't really mean anything, but it would have sounded normal for like a monster name to Japanese viewers. Maybe I can tilt this and then I can, yeah, now I can lean down and you can still see me. That's good. Okay, sorry. Somebody's going to tell me what Riff Tracks is. Riff Tracks is the spinoff with the 3 original on-camera guys. Oh, okay. Well, remind me what the UK answer to Godzilla is. I may have seen it. What are you doing with these drawings during your streams? Drawing them. Just drawing them for fun. Daimajin. I've never heard of that one. 66, huh? Is it a monster movie? Gorgo. Yes. Okay. I have seen Gorgo, but it's been a long time. I don't remember it super well, but I have seen it. So I'm sure if I watched it again, it would come back to me. That's funny. Gorgo. There's lots of giant monster movies out there, and a lot of them aren't very good. They're or very memorable. Trying to think. The Giant Claw, that's a pretty bad one, but I just have a soft spot for monster movies, like especially giant monster movies. I really like them. I think the first one I saw had to have been the original King Kong. I definitely saw that on TV fairly young. I don't know how young. I know I saw that movie pretty young, and I liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked the stop motion effects on Monster Island at the beginning. Gorgo is something that would work on our show. Daimajin is a stone demon during feudal Japan. I must have at least heard of that then, because that part sounds familiar. Reptilicus. I've heard of Reptilicus. I don't think I've seen it. Interesting. I like the Peter Jackson movie in a lot of ways, but I also think it might be overly long. I like what he did with everything, but it is pretty long, all things considered. And sometimes the effects are most of the time the effects are fantastic, and then there's a few that are really bad, like that stampede with like the maybe apatosauruses or something. That one doesn't look so good, but whatever. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. Yeah, Pacific Rim prequel TV series, huh? We'll see. It depends on what they want to do with it. I guess if it's a prequel, you could have like smaller monsters, and you could probably do a lot of the monsters on a TV budget these days. You just couldn't do like 20-minute long fight scenes with them. That's not going to happen. Anyway, I should be working a lot faster. The point is to actually get this work done. Make it something that Jim isn't ashamed to contribute to. But I've been drawing a lot more lately. I know I'm not the best, and I'm certainly like my biggest problem is that I'm just not very quick. I need to be way more confident with my technique and just say like, hey, if it's not perfect, that's unfortunately just what I can do right now. But it does, like, aside from all that preamble, I'll just say I love drawing. This is what gives me in some ways the most pleasure, and it relaxes me and makes me feel content. I really like drawing. Do you guys have anything, creative like that? It could be drawing, it could be writing, but maybe it's something else, cooking, gardening, painting, making music. I don't know. Just drawing makes me feel good. Just like for some people, busting makes them feel good, busting ghosts. And, that's lovely to know. But for me, I don't need to bust ghosts to feel good. I like to draw. I might draw a ghost getting busted. That would be nice. My nephew is telling some sort of animated story upstairs, but I can't quite make out all the details. He's awesome. I love drawing too. It's soothing. Oh yeah, reading. I do like reading. I don't have enough time to read. I did see Rampage. I don't remember it much, which says everything to me. Writing and gardening. Yes. Um, Godzilla Apex. I haven't heard of that fan film, but okay. Listening to music, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Everybody likes music. There's nobody that says like I don't like any music. I've never encountered that. Maybe somebody out there says something like that. That would be wild to me. That I don't like eating. If I go quiet, I'm sorry, not trying to be a bad host. Just sometimes when I focus on art, I can't like really think about what I want to say, and I know I ignore the chat a little bit. That's just what these are, though. When I draw, I love looking in and getting inspired to talk about something. Or what I love is like thinking of stories to tell, like actual like real life stories. But it's hard to like think about them, and every once in a while there's somebody like brings something up that becomes a prompt, and I can tell a story from somewhere in my past or something that relates to what's being talked about. That's the best kind of stuff that I can do, as compared to like I know some people are like, what is your favorite Spider-Man story? And I'm like, I got to think about that one. I'm sorry. It just something that specific doesn't always come to me when I'm focused more mentally on the drawing is all. That makes sense, right? Coworker that doesn't listen to music? I just would I feel like everybody likes some sort of music. Maybe they just haven't found what they like. Noodles, rice, and everything spice, an autobiographical comic and Thai cookbook. It's cool. I got to read that. What was that one book that won an Eisner? Like just within the last month, it was. It's about I want to say Vietnamese refugee, and his whole he tells an autobiography in comic book form, and it's all sort of through the lens of food, the different types of food he's sort of had and enjoyed or just dealt with at different periods in his life. Oh, what's it called? Family something. It's supposed to be really good. I definitely want to read it, but it's not coming to me right now what it's called. Family style, maybe? Family. I don't know. Somebody can look it up. You don't follow the Eisner CW artist? That's fair. I just think it's can even just looking at all the nominees can often be a way to, in my opinion, get some good recommendations for what's been well done recently. Yeah, I look at the Eisners. I look at the Harveys. I look at the Ignats. Those are three of the awards that I tend to follow. No, the book wasn't called Magic Fish. I could look it up later if I don't think of it or if somebody doesn't suggest it. It's not coming to me right now. I don't know who came up with the phrase for drawing comics that said, when in doubt, black it out. But I am going to be blacking out an awful lot of this. I just also think it'll help imply more texture than I actually need to show. I love lots of detail when it's done well, but I'm not a Jeff Darrow or somebody like that. Oh, is this not in focus completely? Oh, there it goes. It needs to see my face, huh? Yeah, it probably was Wallywood, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, genius. Got to make another episode about him at some point. It's because they have assistants most of the time, and if not, they're just like killing themselves to get the first few chapters out, or they've like already finished it. But the answer to how mangaka can get so much detail is either assistants or something like that. Because you're right, some of them the detail is just mind blowing. Katsuhiro Otomo in particular, like the stuff that he does for architecture and environmental detail, it's truly astonishing. The late master Kim Jung-gi, maybe not technically a mangaka, but certainly an amazing, amazing artist. We're lucky to have had him as long as we did, but we should have had him a lot longer. Boy, that guy could do great art. Yes, right now I'm intending to go to Rose City Comic Con for Saturday. I don't know if I can get the time off to do any more than that, but I'm planning to go Saturday. And I agreed to be on a panel at the very end of Saturday, like around 6:15 or something. I'll have more details as we get closer. But I've always wanted to go to that one because it's not super far. I mean, it's still a few hours, but it's the Pacific Northwest, and I've always heard good things about Rose City Comic Con. It seems like they've got some fantastic guests, so I'm pretty excited to check it out, give it a try. Yeah, I can't believe we're almost at the end of the summer convention season. I'm already starting to give some serious thought to the fall stuff because I'm going to go to New York Comic Con for Saturday. Just again, one day. It would be nice to go for one more day to some of these conventions, but that's expensive, in terms of getting the hotel room and taking time off of work. It's a big deal. I totally understand why a lot of artists and writers that work in comics only do so many of these conventions a year. It's really hard to sort of break up your work schedule, even though it's fun once you're there. Checking out a Comic Con in Tiverton, Rhode Island. I heard, thinking of the Pacific, the Northeast. I heard that Terrificon in Connecticut was really fantastic. I heard lots of good things about people that went there. That sounded like a really nice one. I still need to finish Cape Crusader, but yeah, it was of course developed to be on Max, and then HBO, like they own this stuff, and then they were like, no, I don't think we want to do it. Uh, thank goodness Amazon decided to pick it up. But what a weird development that they could get so much talent behind the show, some of a property that their parent company owns, and then just sort of go like, nah. Hard to understand sometimes. But I guess there's going to be at least a second season. We'll see if it gets even more than that, but there's going to be at least a second season. Oh, thinking of like comic book properties. I went ahead and got myself a ticket to see The Crow tomorrow, but the fact that there aren't any reviews out for it yet is not a good sign. And that trailer did not inspire lots of confidence. I love the comic. I like the original movie a lot. Um, boy, this does not look good. And the only reason I'm really going to see it is because I do a show about comics. So I just want to stay in the loop on it. But it's not what I'm really. I think that I was expecting more out of Madam Web before I saw that than I am out of The Crow. We'll see. It looks rough. Maybe it'll surprise me. Just because a bunch of people don't like something doesn't mean that sometimes I don't just go like, well, I loved it. So, but I don't know. I'm going in with my guard up. I'm going in like it makes it a little tougher to sometimes enjoy something properly. I'm going to try to just sort of clear my mind as it starts and just enjoy it if I can. But we'll see. I'm trying to interpret Gamera's various sort of like wrinkly costume folds more as like wrinkly turtle texture. I don't know if that makes 100% sense, but I'm trying to make sense out of it. Is anybody else planning to see The Crow? Yeah, but not for a while. Not for a while have they made one. Exactly. Yeah, review embargoes make me nervous. No, I don't think I did see the trailer. Is there a new one for Creature Commandos? I saw the original teaser and it looked interesting enough, but I haven't seen anything new. I'll have to do that. I agree. It had some flaws to it, but I was able to enjoy it. When it comes to reviewing things, I mean, hey, I do a show about stuff that either underperformed or is schlock, and I can find enjoyment in it. I think that online criticism has really evolved to, like, in order just to sort of get views, critics of film and TV go for really extreme reactions. It's either the best thing of the year or the best in a series, or it's the worst thing ever. And I don't think that that's healthy in terms of being able to enjoy stories, because most things are in the middle. And it's a very large spectrum from terrible to great. So for me, I think that this latest Alien, I'm not going to say anything about it, by the way. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's only been out like not even a full week. I liked it. I liked it overall. I liked it enough. It did have problems. Some of them are fairly serious, and I can understand how it could break it for some viewers. It didn't for me. The problems I felt were still serviceable enough to the story, and I was able to enjoy it. So yeah, overall, I might only give it something like, I don't know, maybe a B minus or something, and at the same time, I might call it the third best out of anything that's got aliens in it. A little more time will help me, like, be more confident with things for a review. But my initial response was, you know what? I was having a good time. There were a couple problems that I could speak to, but it didn't break it for me. It was still serviceable enough. I was like, there are things I wish that they didn't do, but it didn't totally ruin it and make it a bad experience for me. If that makes sense. And it might not if you haven't seen it. But yeah, so there was some questionable stuff that they chose, in both in terms of pacing and in terms of the presentation. But I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. No, and just to be clear, I hope that my review, as I'm presenting it now, isn't as simple as it's all right. It's better than all right. I just, without going into like depth, like, because I haven't had time to think of how to, position my argument. It's better than all right, in my opinion. I'd understand where heavy criticism can come from. I'll put it that way. I could understand it, but for me, it still worked, and I had a good time. So I would recommend it. I'm not going to say that it's better than the first two. It's really, I don't know if any of the Alien movies, I don't know if you can surpass that, especially as you make more and more. The first two are great. First one's pure horror. Second one, not as scary, but some great action to it. And the only thing is, long term, horror franchises are hard to keep scary the more you know the main threat. You know, any horror franchises, it gets less scary. But if you push it too much towards sort of trying to outdo the action of the first one, you're getting away from the core of why tell this kind of a story. I mean, what's the point of telling an alien story? It's at the I think at the heart of it, you know, the first one was to make a horror story, and it's hard to get away from like what the original intent is. Terminator is also hard, but I do think that Terminator is a little more versatile than Alien. I I don't know why I think that. Like, I have to think that through, but I do think that Terminator can tell more stories, and I think that the TV show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and the various comic books that have been made on Terminator kind of highlight that. Now, there actually have been quite a few good Alien comics. I will say that. Probably more good Alien comics than good Alien sequel movies, first of all. But Terminator, there's a lot that you can explore and still make it work. Because yes, the first one's kind of horror. Yes, the second one's action. But both had those elements and both have some serious sci-fi ideas. And when there's a lot of like world building to the sci-fi, there's more stuff to explore. The idea of fate is like a really powerful theme to explore. And Terminator does talk about that, and it talks about, you know, artificial intelligence and the like what we create can destroy us. I mean, we could simplify that to just be like, you know, pollution or something along those lines, but it's like, you know, humanity creates some of its own problems, and that's really interesting to go to. Whereas Alien is about an unknowable monster. It's like it's a more primal fear. When we walk into the woods in pitch black, we're scared of what we can't see. You know, haunted house movies are playing on that fear, and so does Alien. Yeah, I need to read Earth War. One of the Alien books I'll recommend is a more recent one. It's called Dead Orbit by James Stokoe, and that's really, really good. Yeah, Terminator and Alien both had really strong leads. Terminator also, you know, like beyond how big and iconic. Well, Arnold's version of a Terminator is very iconic, but the main character, of course, is Sarah Connor. And then like, but it doesn't have to be. That's the thing. It's very strange once we got away from Ripley, because we had like three different takes on what to do without Ripley now. We had the Alien versus Predator movies. And personally, I'll say that the first Alien versus Predator is kind of fun, in my opinion. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. I think it's fun. It's not as deep or meaningful or sensible as the others, but that doesn't make it unenjoyable. I can enjoy the first. The second one, though, is god awful. I will say that. Like, if you want to hear me say, you know, what's the worst movie? That AVP Requiem can be way up there. It's very bad. It's quite stunningly bad. So that's like one way to go. But that obviously was a very sort of shallow take, and that didn't seem to connect in a big way with people. It's amazing that it had to. And then Ridley Scott came back, and I've got a lot of respect and admiration for Ridley Scott. But I didn't love either Prometheus or Covenant, to be honest. And I think it's trying to explain way too much. And the core idea of Alien is it's a horror movie. It's not scary once we learn all the, you know, sci-fi ideas with engineers and bioweapons and viruses and other alien civilizations. It's, to me, that takes away a lot of the horror element of the Alien movies. So I didn't love that. And now we've got this sort of new take, which is just going to say, like, I don't know. I need more time to digest and think about it. But it seems to be, how does the working class man deal with these threats, these terrifying threats that no one should have to deal with. The first one I think is just sort of a fun adventure type thing. Uh, just Requiem. Even if you liked the story, even if you liked the performances or something like that, you just can't see the movie. It is literally the worst lit movie I've ever seen. It's just so dark. You can barely tell what's going on. Even if you really liked everything that was being created with performances and story, it's like you cannot tell what is happening. Just stunningly bad. And I think that was somewhat intentional. Like, hey, let's hide our budget with, under lighting stuff so that the monsters look a little scary. There's more shadows. I get the idea, I think, behind it, but the execution was what was lacking there. Just not good. Do not recommend that one. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure somebody out there did enjoy it, and maybe they could explain to me why they enjoy it. I'm not saying that it's somebody here in the chat. I'm just saying somebody probably did enjoy it and could tell me something about it that they liked. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of times people that like something, you're like, okay, well, guess what? Those ideas came from this. And then you show them the original and they're like, oh, okay, I revised my opinion. I like that. Prey was very, very good. I agree. Predator. The first Predator is not trying to be as serious as Alien, but it was a great action movie. It was different and it was well executed. And even though those sequels are a little on the schlocky side, I think that overall Predator's sequels have generally been a little better than Alien sequels. The only Predator movie, well, if we count the AVP, I don't like Requiem, and I don't like The Predator by Shane Black, but the rest of them I like. I'm excited that we get another movie from the Prey director. We'll see. How great, though, was it that Dark Horse thought, let's put these together. Let's put these together like chocolate and peanut butter and see what comes out. Because Alien versus Predator comics are really fun. If you haven't read them, they hold up pretty darn well. I think you'd like them. What are some other good franchises? I guess we're talking about movie franchises tonight. We start with Gamera, talk a little about Godzilla, and we got into Alien and Predator. But what are some other franchises? Because I mean, I've seen just about all of them, especially if it's horror like that. That's because I'm drawing monsters. Discovered you through your main channel, courtesy of the Black Set and Grendo vids. Oh, that's really cool. Thanks for jumping in. I'm glad to hear that people watch some of those things that aren't just Batman or Spider-Man or something. Yeah. A horror series I'd like to see get a comic. I'm pretty sure there have been, first of all, some Pumpkinhead comics. Um, what? Let me think for a minute, like of what might work for horror. I feel like most of them, first of all, have had at least a shot at getting adapted into a comic. Because everything I'm thinking of, minus maybe like Saw, I don't think that there's been a Saw comic, but I don't know if that would really work, to be honest, because it's so visceral. I'm a big nerd for James Bond. Yeah, love Mad Max. Even the third one, not too bad. The rest are excellent. The rest are excellent. I feel like there have been some Puppet Master comics, but I don't know for sure. You could do something though with stuff like Puppet Master or sort of more schlocky horror and probably like elevate it a bit with comics if you want to. You're able to control the tone of a comic with a lot of finesse. If it depends on the person telling the story, of course, but I'm just saying there's less people involved, so the creator does have a bit more control over how something gets presented in a comic, and I like that. That's something I like. I like that comics can be collaborative, but I also appreciate that there are less people involved, and so you're getting in my opinion, a stronger vision, a stronger representation of one, maybe a couple people's vision for something. I like that a lot. I did see the Fallout show. I haven't played the games, but Fallout was really cool. That was a good show. Black Mirror could be a very cool comic. I completely agree with you there. Um, yeah. In fact, I think Black Mirror might even be, as far as sort of like scary anthologies go, like could be even stronger as a comic than something like Twilight Zone, just because it's always like sort of based on like the very near future and what we might mess up with technology and stuff. That would be really cool. There was Puppet Master, Demonic Toys, and Dollman film and comics. I'm not surprised. I figured there might have been at least a couple. Who ran Barter Town? Master Blaster runs Barter Town. Say it louder. Master Blaster runs Barter Town. Auntie Entity was an interesting character that Tina Turner played because sort of the villain, but not necessarily the biggest threat, as certainly not in the Mad Max franchise. There's a bit of nuance to Auntie Entity and trying to sort of run a society. There's a bit of nuance there. I appreciate that. I have seen A Boy and His Dog. That is a dark ending. That's a dark ending. It's supposed they play something for a joke that's just about the darkest joke I think I've ever heard. Tina Turner was great. She was great. I agree. Yeah, I think that if Halloween 3 had done better, that would have been an interesting franchise. Just just a horror anthology. I think that could have worked really well. Master Blaster runs Barter Town. Good. What streaming stuff are you guys watching that's newer? I haven't had a lot of time to watch any streaming stuff. Like I say, I haven't finished or even gotten very far in either Caped Crusader or Tales of the TMNT. I like what I've seen, but I haven't had much time to watch. I don't think I've even, now that I think of it, like my wife and I enjoy Cobra Kai, but we haven't even finished the 5 episode season that came out like a couple months ago. I wish I had a little more time to watch TV and stuff, but you know, I work a lot. I've been very stressed out. Just my day job has just a lot going on that I'm managing, and it's. I know that I'm a little more stressed out than I should be, like on a regular sort of like. It's okay to be a little stressed about work, but I've been like dreaming about work, and that's not usually good. But whatever, I'll get past it at some point. But yeah, I could I could use a break. I'll get one soon. Like I say, I'm going to go to Rose City Comic Con for a day, and that's in like a few weeks, 2 weeks maybe. That could be fun. It should be. I'm looking forward to it. All right, what else are people talking about? I don't think I've seen Six String Samurai. X-Men 97 was very good. Oh, that's right. Suicide Squad Isekai came out. I forgot about that. The Bear. Got it. What else? Blue Eye Samurai. Oh, you went in June? Wow, that's intense. Pretty darn hot, huh? I haven't seen Shogun yet. I really want to watch Shogun. Actually, that's what I'll probably prioritize. I really want to see Shogun. Which Netflix series? The Netflix series for what? Sorry, I missed something. Um, yeah, I think that the next stuff I'll watch if I get time would be like Shogun, and I'll try that Terminator anime that comes out at the end of this month. We'll see. Mid-size Comic Cons in Chicago? Boy, maybe somebody else out there would know. I don't know off the top of my head. But a couple of my friends are going to go to the little convention. I think it's this weekend, the Eddie P Comic Con that his family's putting on. Two of my buddies are going to that, and I think that's this weekend. Oh, no, I haven't seen the Gamera Netflix series yet. No. I did watch The Boys. I liked it overall. A couple of the main characters like had subplots that weren't really going anywhere, but the overall general thrust of the show I liked. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Steve. It's kind of nice, huh? It's almost like somebody out there appreciates what I'm doing. It's almost like that, huh? Thank you, Steve. That's very kind. How cool would it be to see Gamera go up against the Ninja Turtles? Although they'd be more likely to team up. They're both kind of like Gamera was a little of a scary monster in the first one, and he does cause some destruction, but he sort of also just shows up and saves the day, like saves kids and stuff. So I don't know if you could really have a versus there. It's just that giant turtle thing. I want to see them cross over somehow. It wasn't that hot, actually. Wow. Okay, usually June is pretty damn hot, but glad that you had a good trip. That's awesome. Matt Frank. Was that official or just for fun? I'll try to remember that, though. Matt Frank did Gamera and TMNT. Whoa! I think I can afford dinner tonight, folks. This is things are turning up, Chris. they're looking good. Thank you both. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mooper-san. Oh my goodness, what? You bring me and others joy, brought us together. That's lovely to think about. Yeah, I mean, I have made a lot of good friends through comics. When I moved originally to DC, I ended up meeting and sort of helping run a group of just local people that loved making and reading comics, and we put out a lot of stuff together. Well, it was fantastic. I've met friends at conventions. The show has helped me meet new people. Comics has introduced me to a lot of wonderful people that have that interest. You are like a bat signal. Oh, you're giving me too much. That's super kind of you. Thank you for the kindness. That's super nice. Wow. Gamera could crush the turtles, but they'd probably know that he was coming. Donatello's pretty smart. He might have some sort of a warning sensor or something like that, and then he'll create something. It was unofficial. I'll still look it up. Iron Shell, thank you. My fave comic YouTuber? That's high praise. There's plenty of competition, although I don't see it all as competition, to be honest. I think that fortunately, if you like comics, just because you watch like one YouTuber that does comic content, it doesn't mean you'd be like, and that's enough for me. One is plenty. Fortunately, I think that people that would watch comic book videos are likely to probably watch several comic book videos. Sometimes I'm like, do I have enough of a library? And then I'm like, oh, there's other people out there that, need the attention and stuff too. There's some of those lovely YouTubers that have like 1 million or 2 million subscribers or get like consistent. They need attention too. All right, let me switch it up a little to a technical pen. I'm going to do some more facial details for this Gamera. What do you think of any of the recent Wolverine issues that have come out? Are they doing any justice to the character? I don't know that I've read a lot. I think like a couple months ago, I read a little bit of like Wolverine versus Sabretooth, and it was kind of fun. I did pick up today Greg Capullo's Wolverine Revenge. I'm excited to read that, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. I'll have an opinion on Monday when I do the live show here. Have I ever created an original comic character? If so, would you ever consider expanding on them? Oh yeah, I've created all sorts of stories. I just haven't had time to like hire, an artist to bring my stories to life. I'm too slow. I could not do that. Like that's not going to happen. But maybe someday it'll line up that I have both the time and the money to hire a professional artist to bring some of my ideas to life. And I say that here and there, and I'm only getting older. So TikTok, not TikTok the app, like TikTok, like I'm running out of time, but we'll see. I've got some ideas. Thanks for asking. Wow, no comment even, just a kindness. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that, Trey. It's really nice. Sorry I don't know more about the current Wolverine comics, but Wolverine Revenge looks good. Thinking out loud, I riffed on Gamera and Ninja Turtles, but the more I think about it, if I could write, like, say, a one-shot Ninja Turtles story, um, what would be fun is to have them go up against a supernatural threat, like have them go up against a somewhat giant kappa, the turtle demon. That would be, I think, really fun to have them fight a supernatural threat that is a little out of their wheelhouse, because they're a little more science based, but there is like a bit of like a supernatural bent here and there, or a mysticism sometimes to turtles. Like that could be fun. That would be my one shot, like Ninja Turtles versus a big kappa monster. So yeah, there's my idea. And because I published it here online, that protects me, I think. But I don't own the characters or anything, so who knows? Think that could work? Yeah. Could do something really fun there. Some of the turtles would be very out of their element going up against something they didn't quite understand like that. And I think like what would be sort of fun is to have them embrace the more turtley aspects of themselves to really go after it. Maybe they have to go into a swampy pond or something like that to fight it on its own turf, but they could do that better than, like, say, a Foot Clan human ninja, because they're turtles, so they're adapted for that environment. I think that would be fun to see them have sort of a big water based fight that somebody like Daredevil or Spider-Man, they couldn't do that, but the Ninja Turtles could. Or maybe it's a bad idea, and Jason Aaron will show us how to really do things with his current run. It does look like a fun run so far, what he's doing. Yeah, that could be fun. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Something to think about. Do they have tails? It seems like the tails have been pretty much phased out of the Ninja Turtles designs at this point. So probably not. Probably not. Well, thanks for joining me, folks. I knew it was going to be pretty late at night for a lot of people, so I didn't necessarily expect a big turnout, but it's lovely to have anyone show up. I'm probably doing more detail than is honestly necessary now that I'm starting to think about it, because this is for a thumbnail, and it's only like half of the thumbnail. So it's like, what am I doing to myself with all this detail? I said I was going to black out a bunch of stuff, and then I started slowing down because I was having fun adding texture. But it's all going to be shrunk down so small. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't know. I don't know. Not smart. Not smart. Well, it's fun having you guys here. Appreciate it. Silent is totally okay. Yes, for Trash Movie Bonanza. That's what this is for. Wait till you see what Jim chose, though. Oh my god, you won't guess. It's the stuff that he knows for bad movies. I'm doing it with the right guy. I just need to learn how to give Jim way more time to talk. I know that I get so excited. I talk over him too much. Um, I think I'm getting better. Give me your patience. I promise our dynamic will only continue to improve. All I'll tell you is I am having a blast talking these movies with Jim. Like, it is so fun to talk to somebody else that loves this stuff and to introduce me to stuff that I haven't come across before. It's amazing. I know it isn't always comics, but by the way, we probably will do some more comic book movies. At some point, it probably won't even be that long, all things considered. But yeah, we'll do more comic book movies. Personally, I would really enjoy talking about Madam Web. I don't know if Jim would be up for that or not, but I would like to talk about that one. Well, thanks for jumping in. Ah, you guessed. Yep, the name of the rose. We should talk about Tank Girl at some point. We should talk about Tank Girl. That there's interesting stuff behind the scenes to talk about for that one. There's a lot of Roger Corman stuff that would be fun to talk about. There has to be somebody out there. I knew there had to be somebody out there that enjoyed it. Had to be. The stuff could be interesting. Yeah. Well, thanks for even jumping in for a second. Yes, obviously Jim has touched Tank Girl. Dr. Mordred, yep. The when what is it? Roger Corman couldn't get the Doctor Strange rights. He just made his own with the serial numbers filed off. I would love to talk about the Trancers movies from Full Moon. I think that would be a lot of fun. Trancers. I kind of like that series. Anyway, there's really never going to be, like, we'll never run out of movies to talk about on it. So it's just as long as we are having fun, that show will get made. And our editor, Jamie, will get paid. As well he should. He's the secret ingredient that makes that show possible, because neither Jim nor I would have time to edit such a show. And we're really lucky to have Jamie. I keep thinking about, like, how to potentially hire a editor on comic tropes so that I could speed things up for everybody. But the trick is that it's not the edit that really takes all that much time. It's gathering the images. And I've got a very back and forth process there where, I think I've got most of what I need. I start editing and I get to a section and I'm like, you know what? This needs some different or more images. And so, like, I go back and forth there, and but it's the gathering the images that takes ages and ages, because it just takes forever. So that's the thing that, like, holds me up from being able to get an editor, is how can I, like, hand over an episode and be like, oh wait, it also needs this image, or it needs, I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, is all I can say. I'd like to hire an editor, but that isn't really the true bottleneck of getting comic tropes done faster or better. It's the gathering of all the necessary imagery. Just painful. if I was smart, I would have from the beginning just done a movie review show. You know, you get clips and you use like 5 to 10 seconds at a time, and you're great. But with comics, you're scanning and cropping still images, not motion. So it's just tons more. It's much more time consuming to edit. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my God, yes. If I could have multiple man's powers. That's a good idea. We should do Vampirella on the show sometime. Yep. Yeah, we could do The Punisher. That would be interesting. There's a lot of good comic book movies to do. Yeah, there is some back and forth there. You're sort of right. A research assistant would almost be the more appropriate sort of thing to hire, but I don't know. I mean, I know that there are people that know comics, but to know how to find everything and credit it properly too, you know, like I need to be able to trust that if I had an assistant of any kind and they grabbed an image aside from say from a comic that I'm actually reviewing, you know, I need to know that that image is something I can either credit or you know use, that it's like either, you know, public domain or Creative Commons or you know something that somebody's okay with like you know a credit. So that's a very tricky part too, to putting still images throughout your videos. The longer I do this, the more careful I am about crediting people, especially as like you know views on my channel kind of go up. You know, I want to do right by anybody else. It was when I started, you know, I had like no views. You know, it was just like nobody was watching, so I could do whatever I wanted. But you know, I don't want to screw anybody over. I want to give them the attention and credit they deserve. If I'm taking like an image that they took, or if somebody did an interview and I'm using like that to reinforce my argument, you know, I want to make sure that I'm crediting the right person for that interview. So if you watch like, you know, episodes today versus episodes like from, you know, the first year that I did the show, I think that the show's probably evolved quite a bit. I never really gone back to listen to them. Too much to do, but I bet that they're very different the more I think about it. Is that looking good? Like he's got a decent texture? There are professional researchers who collate images like that? There are? But for comics? Boy, I don't know. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Jim, me, Jamie, like we all appreciate that. Thank you. We're having fun doing it. But we'll probably have some guests at some point. You know, maybe we'll see if talking about one movie at a time is you know like a good format to attempt instead of like two every time. I don't know, or maybe just like do it the way we're doing it, but divide it in half so that people aren't overwhelmed with how many movies are being discussed at once. So there's a lot of like little things that we'll sort of like test as time goes on. I'm sure. You know, I'm sure Jim will have good ideas the more we do of this, and I want to give him as much room to explore and experiment as he wants, because I wouldn't be doing this show without Jim. So I consider it like, you know, almost more his than me in some ways. Thank you. It's one of the more iconic features on Gamera. Let's see. Some top YouTubers that will remain unnamed steal clips and never credit creators, which YouTube lets slide because they're cash cows. Sometimes YouTube does have a decent algorithm for getting stuff, but you have to like sort of protect your clips. It's much harder for still images though. There's nothing really out there for that. I don't think. Maybe there is, and I'm just doing it right. By the way, this armor that I'm drawing right now on, or sort of belly plates, whatever you want to call them for Gamera, that is not how he looks in the original movies, which is what we're reviewing. I am definitely taking my inspiration for his look from some of his later movies. That's the only thing I'm really changing, but I really like how this looks, like this sort of like, I don't know. In the original movies, it's like he just has a grid. It's too simple. It's too simple. I don't like it. Oh, that's right. I think I watched that one. Yeah, H Bomber guy did that huge video on plagiarism. I don't remember the couple of creators that he was pointing out that were guilty, but it was a really well researched and well thought out argument about the threat of plagiarism that's out there in sort of individual content creation. Yeah, I was really impressed actually with that video when I was watching it. What's your go-to comfort food kaiju film? Godzilla Final Wars. Godzilla Final Wars is just wall-to-wall action, and I really, really enjoy it. It's not the best. The best is either something like -1 or the original from 1954 or Shin Godzilla. And those are three that I absolutely adore and can rewatch. There's a lot to say. They each like make an argument about something. But for comfort food, where I could just watch it and just not have to think as much, Final Wars, Godzilla Final Wars. Internet historian. Is that who H Bomber guy was talking about? I don't really remember. Final Wars is fun. Yeah, several. Yeah, I think that the Godzilla masterpieces in order would be the 1954 one, Shin Godzilla, which wasn't that long ago, and just last year's Godzilla -1. The rest of them are mostly just fun as compared to like deep. And some of them do have a little bit more of a message than others, but those are the three that like I think are the top tier. Who's a creator that impressed you even more upon meeting them? I don't know that I've met tons of creators in person, first of all. So let me think about that one for a moment, because I'd like to give you a well thought out answer. There's a lot of creators that I've talked to online, of course, but I haven't met them in person. I'm going to take that like question fairly literally there, of like, that I've actually met. Who's impressed me even more after meeting them? Maybe it's a smaller channel, so I don't know if you guys would all know it, but I think it's a very good one, is Bronze Age Nerd. I'm going to shout out Christopher at Bronze Age Nerd, because I think he's witty when he's on camera and talking about stuff. He's got a very dry delivery, but he can be very funny. He knows more about certain aspects of comics that I do, the collecting and grading side. He knows that stuff a lot better than I do. I don't pretend to be any sort of an expert in that field, and I just think he does a really well researched show. And when he does stuff, I've been really impressed with his camera and lighting and audio. Like, he just has a solid presentation, and I was like, wow, good job. Yeah, so that's somebody that I met at Washington SummerCon, and talking to him, I was really impressed with that. I really was. I met Tony Moore and got his autograph on a Walking Dead comic. Boy, I forget which issue it would have been, but I remember Tony was digitally adding the Greys to Walking Dead, and it was somewhere between issues 1 and 6. I don't remember which one it was. I was visiting him, and I was like, "Can I use the tablet and mess around?" And he let me add some Greys. I don't. He probably erased what I did, but yeah, Tony's awesome. No, you prompted a pleasant memory. I haven't seen Tony in person in a long time, but boy, Tony's talented. Just one of the absolute best artists out there in my book, and boy, do I want to see lots more of work by him. If you haven't read stuff other than Walking Dead by Tony, I think that The Exterminators through Vertigo was a really cool book that he did. I think his run on stuff like Punisher and Venom with Rick Remender were both really strong. Fear Agent. He's done a lot of really good books that not everybody remembers as well as Walking Dead. But yeah, Tony's just so talented. He went to college and got trained, he can paint and stuff. He's good at lots of different types of art. You don't get to see it all, but he's really incredible. Oh, that's nice. I wanted to meet Jim Starlin. He was coming to my local summer convention, but he just was never there when I couldn't find him at his table. Oh, yeah. Tony's work on Deadpool is great, too. A creator I wish I met is Ed Piskor. Sure. Well, I have already decided that, when I go back to Japan this January, one thing I'm going to do that I always did, it was something Ed and I did to amuse each other, was we go to this great art supply store called Sakaido in the Shinjuku section of Tokyo. And it has a floor dedicated to manga supplies, including just tons and tons of Zipatone. Just these screen tones. It's like gray pattern dots and stuff. And before I ever met Ed, I'd taken a picture with all that in the background, and he really got a kick out of that. And every time he went to Japan, he would take a picture. The same thing, just a picture in front of this wall of Zipatones. And every time I went back, I would take one too. And I'm going to do that this time. And I'm just going to I'll just going to post that, hey, thinking of you, Ed. Yeah. Tough year in terms of comics creators and stuff, I didn't really watch Benny's videos a whole lot on Comicstorian, but I had met him several times, and he was always very kind. He was very kind, and he had a humongous channel, so he doesn't have to really give me the time of day. But I don't have any, even if it's not a channel that I watch. I could tell that he loved comics, so. And we both do YouTube, so when we'd see each other at a convention, I enjoyed talking with him, and it was nice that he would. He seemed legit, always excited and happy to talk, and so that was a tough one this year too. It's tough. Is there a comic you ever picked up for the artwork alone? Well, I think, just to be clear, when I was a teenager or something, and the 90s. Early 90s, I was definitely picking up comics primarily for the art back then. And sometimes it's guys that you still, look up to and respect today, guys that I got excited by back then that people will still look at as a master, would be a George Perez or a Mike Mignola. Those were early ones that I got excited by. But I also like Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson. I was getting all of those mainly for the art back then. Some of them happened to also have good stories, but there was definitely a point where I was doing that just to, like, yeah. Do I know how Benny got comic book scans? No, never talked about anything like that. I don't know. Oh man, yeah, Dave Stevens. Wish we'd had him longer. Really, really amazing artist. Really, really cool. We didn't have him too long, all things considered. It's too bad. Really, really cool. At least we'll. Oh, I think Rocketeer seems to be around to stay, so that's going to be something that helps people remember Dave Stevens, and that's nice to know. Yeah, I'm going to throw in a lot of black here for a minute, and hopefully that helps offset some of the other shapes in this piece. Those are googly eyes back there. That is just sort of my wife's sense of humor, and yeah, obviously I'm not the most organized, so I don't take it away. Oh, dude, I've got so much to learn, but thank you. Thank you. That's kind. I appreciate it. No, comics definitely like live and die by the direct market and are definitely growing into a lot more, digital comics options, but it does seem like a miss to not have them more accessible everywhere. When I go to Japan, you still find weekly Shonen Jump and similar like manga anthologies in 7-Eleven and Family Mart. You see them in bookstores. You see that stuff everywhere, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I was going to say, like, it's frustrating that more publishers aren't trying to get into those markets. And here's the thing: I don't expect that right now to come from Marvel or DC, and I don't think that that's. I think that they probably do know that the advantage of getting back into markets like that, but I think that they're overall content, and I don't think that. I think because they're owned by big businesses, big companies, I don't think that there's a lot of pressure on them to perform better, basically. I just don't think that there's a lot of pressure. I think that they're very content business wise to be exactly where they are. There's a lot of levers that they could easily switch to do better, but I think that they're perfectly content where they are. And that's not good, but that's what I believe is a fact. But that just means that there's opportunity there. That could be a good thing. So, if I was, um, if I was, they're all owned by companies now, but okay, we'll just say like Dark Horse or Boom or IDW or Dynamite. If I was one of these companies or Image, I would be like, you know what? If Marvel and DC aren't going to like figure out like the distribution into like, drug stores and grocery stores and bookstores for like our monthlies, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to like capture that market share somewhere else other than at the local comic book shop. Um, and I think that would only be a net good for local comic book shops. If you get more readers, all of a sudden more people are stopping by the comic shops to get back issues, get trade paperbacks, start getting something regularly, monthly that they can count on, being in a pull box. But yeah, I think that to hook new readers, like if I was one of those publishers, because I just don't expect Marvel or DC to be the ones to do it right now. I think they're very content with how they're doing. I think they're very content. So I would say like if I was another publisher, I'd be like, hey, maybe I should be the one to figure this out before the next biggest guy does. Who knows? That's just how I'm thinking. A lot of them are figuring out ways to do great stuff with crowdfunding platforms. Get it direct to the customer. Awesome. But what don't just rely on one or two chains of distribution. Get as many as you can. Get as many as you can. We'll see. No, I could understand why somebody would be concerned. Anytime there's change, like, is there going to be a negative impact? In my opinion, if you had more comics available, at places like, your local grocery store or your local 7-Eleven, what that effectively would mean is, as more copies are printed, there are economies of scale, and maybe you can reduce the price of a comic by 50 cents to $1 at a certain point. And you're getting new readers. So I think it brings up how many copies are out there, and I think it would only help. But that's me. If you were going to do this as a company, you should hire probably a marketing firm and do the research to be sure that you're investing your money wisely. But I believe that that's the case. Well, what will be interesting to see is, let's see how well DC's new compact comics do, because obviously those are available in a lot of bookstores, and they could probably release those in a lot of other places. $10 for basically a 12-issue 5x7 book is a very attractive price point. And if that takes off in a big way, I could see that helping sort of okay, maybe the monthly comics stay at the comic book stores, but the trade paperback market could grow and become something that they offer at a lot of other places. We'll see. I know I say that too much, but yeah, there's some opportunities there. Dude, unfortunately, I'm old enough that when I first got some comics as a very little kid, they were literally 60 cents. And so I could get, they quickly went up from there once I started reading, but when my parents got them for me, they were still 60 cents. And it just meant that when I finally started working, and I don't mean even younger than say 16, I got a part-time job when I was 16 at Walgreens. But before that, I was mowing lawns, I was babysitting, things like that, got paper routes. And so I when I started to get my own money, I was very quickly able to discover and buy my own comic books, and buy almost as many as I wanted. That was pretty cool. That was really cool. It would be lovely if, and look, I don't think kids necessarily have $10 all the time, but if they had $10 and they could get, all 12 issues of All-Star Superman, or the first 12 issues of Batman Court of Owls, things like that, Watchmen, Green Lantern Far Sector, that's still a lot to read for $10. That's a pretty darn good value these days. Obviously, kids can find a way to get plenty of manga, and manga is generally more how much is it these days? I think that the average price point is probably about $12 now for a manga. And that's not even as big as what DC Compact is giving. So there are some good deals to be found out there. I think that's one of the newer things I've seen in terms of a way to present comics at an affordable price. That's one of the newer things I've seen. And I'm impressed that DC's doing that. I hope that it's successful. It seems to be, because they've announced a bunch more. They paid to make an actual commercial. So I think that DC Compact, it might be a no-brainer that why didn't we think of this before? But yeah. Look at your round little tail, Gamera. You big goof. You big goofball. Yeah, maybe I should talk about Sentry and Jay Lee. Those are two sort of separate things, but maybe I should. It's a good idea. I hope they do too. I'll pay $10 for even stuff that I've read before, but that I don't have handy. If I could get it in like like a full story for like $10, I'll be doing that. Tokusatsu characters aside from Godzilla and Gamera that I like. I mean, I like some of the monsters in Ultraman. I'm trying to think if there's any other like big series or anything. I mean, if we're just talking about that as like an entire genre and we're not limiting it to Japan, I like Pacific Rim a lot. You think he's looking swole? Maybe. Maybe. There's still a lot left to do here. I didn't realize I was going to be taking this long to do it all. Oh well. It's fun for me to do texture, so I can get lost in it sometimes. Got a song stuck in my head all of a sudden. It's a weird. Let me think. I'm trying to think of what it is. That's all. Don't cry. Sorry's easily said. Turn the tables and cry. What is it? I can't think of it yet. I've taken lots of chances before, but I don't need to see anymore to know that something da 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 da. I am the eye in the sky. Look into you. I can read your mind. I think it's called Eye in the Sky. Sorry, it just came in my head. I guess I'm right. That's what it is. The Alan Parson Project. Thank you. It was just all of a sudden in my head. I don't know why. And I don't need to see anymore to know that I can read your mind. It's a good song. Maybe not the way I sing it. I know I can't carry a tune, so I'm sorry if I was torturing you all just now. My apologies. That was not what a good host should do. But it was in my head, and I just had to figure it out what it was. Just like I had the tune. Yeah, Eye in the Sky. I can't think of all the lyrics to it, but yeah. Eye in the Sky. Live drawing and karaoke. Everything from Japan. Karaoke, Gamera. Next, I'll make some soba noodles in front of you, straight from wheat. Go-to one would probably be. Let me think. I've got a song in my head, but again, I'm having trouble remembering the name of the song and the name of the band. I just need a minute. It's by Cheap Trick. That just came to me. What is it? Mother told me, yes, she told me I'd meet girls like you. She also told me, stay away, you never know what you'll catch. Just the other day I heard of a soldier's falling off. Some Indonesian junk that's going round. Surrender. Thanks, everybody. Wasn't coming to me. If I have some backing music, I could have done better. Yes, that would be my go-to. I feel like with the music, I can kind of just do that one. Not so much just then, but with the music. I wish I was better at cross hatching. But I'll probably do some here in a minute. Because I need to figure out more of the right angle on some of this. How about you? Everybody chime in. If you had to do karaoke, what would be the song you think you could do the best at? It doesn't have to be your favorite song, just the song you think you would be able to do best at. That's very kind of you. Which artists or books give you a nostalgia punch to the gut? Jim Aparo, my probably my favorite Batman artist. Anytime I see his stuff anywhere, yeah, that hits a sweet spot. Just something that I saw fairly early on, really liked, grew to appreciate even more the older I got. I was like, yeah, Jim Aparo is the shit. That's what I say. I would do anything for love. Yeah, that is fun to sing. Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. I came to win. Battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up. Punk, you better back up. Try and play the role, and the whole crew will act up. That's a good one. Cannibal Corpse. Ooh, yeah, I'm not an expert there. Darn. I'll make a man out of you. Yeah, I've got that in the back of my head. Yes. I'm the cream of the crop. I rise to the top. I never eat a pig because a pig is a cop, or better yet, a Terminator. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, trying to play me out like as if my name was Sega. But I ain't going out like no punk bitch. Get used to one style and yo, and I might switch it up and around, and buck you down, pick your head, and then you break up in the dawn of the dead. I don't know what I was doing there. My go-to karaoke songs are mostly in Spanish. In English, I go for Wish You Were Here. That just sort of made me realize that I guess I don't really myself know a Spanish song well enough to sing one if like I was in if I was doing karaoke in Argentina or something. Like I wouldn't know what to pick. I don't know what to sing. Huh. You've taken lots of chances before, but I ain't gonna give any more. Don't ask me, that's how it goes. A part of you knows what you're thinking. I am the eye in the sky. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Manu Chao? I don't know that. Mamacita, ¿dónde está Santa Claus? I guess I know some Christmas songs that have a little bit of Spanish in them. Un poquito. It's too early? It's never too early for Christmas, baby. Time for some Christmas tunes. Just about every musical artist that lasts for a while does end up doing a Christmas album at some point, don't they? Not everybody, but boy, a lot of them. Gregorian chant number 5. I don't know that. I wish I had musical talent. I really don't. Like in school, like, there were lessons for when you're really little, they give you a recorder. In like middle school, you get to like learn a guitar a little bit, but I just never really had a lot of I don't feel like I've got good rhythm, and even obviously when I sing, I can't hold a note properly, which always like kind of confused me because I feel like I can control my voice for doing impressions. So I feel like I should be able to sing, but it's like I choose the wrong note. I don't get it right. I don't know. I don't have any. I don't feel I can sing. I'll do karaoke. I just will be like, yeah, I'll do the best I can. Uh, but I don't. Yeah, I can't do it. You know who can sing? Harry Partridge, the guy that did, for instance, the opening animation to my Comic Tropes channel, does a lot of his own animations that are all incredible. And he's got his comic book coming out, Starbarians, which you can still buy into on Indiegogo. He's almost done there. He can sing, man. He's got pipes. That guy. I don't know if I've ever told him that but yeah, Harry's a really good singer whenever he wants to be. Just really impressive stuff. Really, really cool. Oh yeah, there's karaoke in all the cities all over the place. No question. Yeah, karaoke is well, I in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I feel like in general, Japanese people are a little shy. They're a little shy, but but they have ways to break themselves out of that potential shyness. And one of them is going out drinking with work colleagues. And sometimes you want to do something while you drink, and karaoke is one of those things that you can do. So, yeah, you can do it with friends, you can just do it for fun, by yourself theoretically, but it is actually fairly popular to go out with like coworkers and loosen up and do some karaoke. And it's like you're doing something that would normally be embarrassing, but you're socially lubricated, and it seems to like work fairly well in terms of helping people get to know each other well. And then when it's over, you go back to work and you sumimasen. Oh, the Gamera theme song is awesome. Gamera, Gamera. I can't think of the exact lyrics right now. As soon as I said that, just too focused on too many things. But yeah, just a bunch of kids singing about how great and how tough and how strong Gamera is. Come on, that's awesome. Gamera is great. I like Gamera. I don't think it's great, but I think it's entertaining. Does that make sense? Sometimes things don't have to be good to be entertaining. They can almost be better for it. I like some of the early Neil Breen films for that reason. Neil Breen's films are just objectively quite bad, but boy, if I don't find the first 3 or 4 of them super entertaining. Ginga Densetsu? Densetsu. Ginga Densetsu. I don't know that one. Let's sing. Oh, that's a really nice way to put it here. Karaoke or karaoke is not about being good alone, but being awful together. I like that. I've never heard that, but that's nice. Hello. If I was Jim Mafood, because he's going to draw a little something for this thumbnail at some point too, then I'd be going nuts with color and splattering stuff. He knows how to make this stuff exciting. I don't know how to do that the way Jim does, but that's okay. That's okay. Jim's a very special artist. I feel very privileged to have gotten to know him better. But we were talking earlier about how comics can really sometimes bring people together, and I'm so flattered that I've been able to meet and get to know a little better people like Tony Moore that we were talking about earlier, or Jim Mafood, or Kyle Higgins. There's many more. I don't want to just name drop. That wasn't the point of this. It was just that I feel very privileged to meet such creative and hardworking people. In general, that's what I find attractive. We'll say is people that are not just creative actually, but also hardworking. People that don't take no for an answer and just brute force their way to getting people to recognize their stories. I really admire hard work, and yeah, just really fortunate to have met the people that I've met so far. Of course, they're a little more fortunate because they got to meet me. I recognize. No. But yeah, sometimes the older you get, you just start to realize certain things about yourself, and all of a sudden, I sort of one day realized, boy, some of the people that I know are so successful, and I go, I must be drawn to something in common there, and I think it's just that when I meet somebody and they are just going to make whatever they want happen. I just find that so cool, and I just want to talk to them more. And so I guess those are just the people that I find the coolest, are people that just make what they want to happen. It's really awesome. I don't think Gamera is that well known over here. I think Gamera would have to have a few more big hits in Japan before they ever came over here. But you know what? Give it another 10 years, maybe less, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some more people or more American productions with giant stuff like this, because that within 10 years the people that grew up watching things like Power Rangers are going to be like the adults that like run Hollywood. So yeah, make stuff happen like you are cool. Well, thanks for the support. You're the best, Steve. That's really, really kind of you. By the way, I just realized that the camera up here that's like over here, it's at 5% battery. So this episode is close to wrapping up is all I want to say. I'm going to keep going, I think, but all of a sudden this will just turn into color bars because the camera will have like puttered out. And I guess that just means it's time for me to finish the rest of it on my own if I don't finish it on screen on camera with you guys. But I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want to surprise myself. So I'm just throwing it out there that, yeah, like there will be an end. But thanks for being with me while I draw this, and you'll get to see the ultimate finished result once Jim and I upload the next trash movie bonanza. So, you know, there is you will get to see it is all I want to say. That's all. $5%. Pacific Rim did the first one did very well. The second one, not so much. So then they did the anime series on Netflix. They're doing, just so you know, like an official third story on Kickstarter that's going to come out in 3 gigantic graphic novels, one each year. Like I've supported that. It's got EJ Sue drawing it. It's got Joshua Fialkov writing. Just an incredible team. And then there is going to be a Pacific Rim TV prequel series, apparently. There is a Kickstarter on Kickstarter. So yeah, I strongly recommend the Pacific Rim comic book Kickstarter because I love the talent involved. I love the world that they have, and it's an official sequel with the characters from the first 2 movies. So I think that's got a lot of potential to be really cool. Have you guys supported anything on a like a crowdfunded comic lately? I'll have to do one of my live streams soon where people can like talk up their crowdfunded comics and project or just indie comics that they've got for sale. I'll do one of those sometime soon. I like doing those, trying to give a voice to people that are trying to get the word out. What I'll give it some thought, and maybe at some point I can like set like a regular day of the month to do those. Maybe that would help people. All right, let's see. I kickstarted a few things: the comic book history of role-playing games, and Red and Coal, all about the minor wars of the 1920s. Does sound interesting. Kickstarted Black Coal and Red Bandanas, a graphic novel. Got it. Trekker. Hadn't heard about Trekker. I haven't heard about any of these, but that's okay. Notification for Turtle Power 2. Okay. Graphic novel called Mandrill P.I. Huh. Never heard of that one. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, it is a little steep, but I still supported it. But I get it. Yeah, I don't know why that one's taken as long as it is, since those are things that already exist. That one seems to be good. It'll be a good result, I'm sure. It seems to be taking a while. Oh, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear. Good. I hope it's good. Yeah, I supported them. I think that that has a lot of potential. Very cool. I it's tricky. I get asked a lot if people can like stop on the pros and cons channel to talk about their kickstarted comic, and I don't want it to become something like where every week, you just are like, oh boy, another person talking about their passion project that I may or may not care about. That's not what I think my weekly news and review show should become. So I say no to a lot of it in that specific context. Plus, it sounds like I'm implicitly endorsing something when I sort of focus on it that closely. Instead, I think that it's better to just do a dedicated like sort of live stream every once in a while. And if somebody wants to talk about their indie comic or their crowd-funded comic, and that's just what the whole show is, I think that that's a little more fair and reasonable, for giving a voice, but like not making not sort of like inserting something into a show that has a lot of moving components. I mean, I might occasionally have a guest that is talking up a crowd-funded comic, but I don't want to make it a regular thing. It's tricky. I really admire the crowd-funded comic model. I think it's amazing that it's become this distribution system that can get things into people's hands and cut out big business if you want it to, uh, or at least just target a little more carefully people with specific interests. I like that, but I wish that like there was a way to know how far along the work was, so that we knew a better idea of how long it would take for that crowd-funded comic to actually get into your hands. I feel like that is the biggest downfall. Whenever I've supported one, I always just in my own head say it's going to be like a year more than what they're telling me. That's just what I tell myself. And I don't like having to tell myself that, but I do. I've never been to G Fest and I would really enjoy it. I would really like to go. Yeah. I think I'd have a great time there someday. Any indie comic runs you'd like to see, something like the mass market DC run? Oh, tons. There's so many classic books. I think that like Hellboy and The Crow and Invincible and Saga and Walking Dead all deserve to be in that little format. Um, what else? Like for indie stuff, like that's just stuff that everybody would enjoy. Probably a lot of funny stuff. I'd have to like pause and think about it, but um, Concrete by Paul Chadwick would be cool to see, like, hit the mass market in some way. Uh, I don't know. Judge Dredd. There's a lot. I haven't been, but I've also heard that it's very comic focused, and I do plan on going on Saturday this year. And if you are thinking of going, if you use the promo code tropes, you'll get $5 off your badge. Okay, so if anyone's thinking of going to Rose City Comic Con, again, you just put the promo code tropes in, and you get $5 off. Pretty good, right? Hopefully that makes the decision easier for a few folks. Is like, oh, okay, if I can go in for even less. Mm-hmm. So, Steve, I think I'm not quite following here. Are you saying that you made these books, or these are books that you supported because they were cool? Because if you made them, like, you've got to come on, like, the next time I do one of these, like, promote your own comic book. But just, I don't follow yet. I'm just trying to know, like, did you make these books, or these are books that you're recommending we support? Either is cool. I just want to know. Oh, camera's about to die. It's telling me that it's completely out of battery juice. It just hasn't shut off yet, but it's about to. So here, that's what I was able to finish on the live stream. It's about to die. I'm going to finish this on my own time. Okay, good to know. Let me adjust that. So, and yeah, I mean, it's going to die imminently. So I'll be more graceful. Instead of showing it go to color bars. Oh, did it right on time. Ah, it's dead. That's okay though, because I mean, yeah, wow, that's almost 2 hours even. So you know what? I mean, it's that's okay. I'm gonna finish this up, and you'll get to see the complete version as part of the thumbnail of a future trash movie bonanza. So I've got a little bit more to do. But I've been just drawing a lot more lately. I was trying to draw this Rogue and Savage Land attire on my last Monday show, but I felt like the lines were a little thicker than I wanted them to be, so I don't think I'm gonna finish it. But I drew this one like after just like enjoying the latest Uncanny X-Men. I just felt like drawing, and I kind of like how that one came out. That was just a doodle that got out of control. I do a few things differently if I was doing it like for publication. Like, I think Rogue's hair is a little messy, but whatever. I've been drawing more, and I've got other things around here. I've been drawing a lot lately. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to try to do more of these, like where I draw. It's fun. I love drawing. It's my therapy. Well, good. I hope you do it. If anybody is, again, my promo code is tropes. You'll have an opportunity when it comes time to payment. There's a bar on Rose City Comic Con that just says promo code. And if you say tropes, you get $5 off. I think that's pretty good. Oh, that's kind. Needs to be thicker. Oh, like, yeah, not the line or okay, but you might be right. Oh, wow, Etienne. Quit beating yourself up over "we'll see." It's really not a big deal at all, and catchphrases make the identity of shows. Yeah, that's fair. It's just something it got in my own head that I realized I say certain things as my. It's not a wiggle word. There's a phrase for like when you're sort of vamping for time. There's a phrase for that, and I can't think of what it is right now. But mine apparently is. We'll see. Thanks everybody for joining. I had a great time. I do have a few people that will be guests here and there on future episodes of the weekly Spinner Rack, but I promise they're all going to be fun. They're not just there to shill to you. They're going to be fun. Anyway, I think that's yeah. Oh, you already ordered it? I'm sorry. I wish I could get the news out faster, but that's okay. Thank you. Maybe I'll be there on Saturday. Okay, so that's my plan. Yeah, I'm wrapping up. I'm about to take off, but it was great talking to everybody. Thank you for the encouragement and the fun conversation. That was great, and this was 2 hours well spent for me. I feel energized after just drawing and talking comics with you all. I'll create a live stream sometime in the very near future on this channel where people can promote their indie comics and their crowdfunding campaigns. I'll give that some serious thought. All right. Keep reading comics.